Welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Comics Weekend review. Actually done on the weekend this time. These are for the stuff we picked up from the February 27th, 2013 releases. There's a lot in the stack this time, so we're going to jump right into it. Avengers Arena issue 5. This continues the story of Arcade kidnapping all these sort of younger heroes, putting them in a certain spot, and playing like a Hunger Games type thing with them. Whoever survives is the winner. The last couple issues have kind of focused sort of a backstory on each of the characters that are in the storyline. This issue focuses on Kid Britain. It's got a great, cool homage cover here. I think it's pretty neat. This is Kid Britain. It's an homage to Clockwork Orange. So it kind of gives the backstory of him and how he relates to Captain Britain and kind of his relationship with one of the female characters in this book and another female character in this book. And it just kind of plays out that he's kind of a jerk. And so it's Arcade spices things up by dropping a food packet off, and so all these different groups are going to get to this food packet, and they've kind of trimmed their numbers a little bit, and they really don't care for each other that much in his team. So I'm kind of seeing them sort of as the villainous team of the bunch, and if something bad is going to happen, it's going to be probably that they're going to cause it. Watch your feet there. So that was pretty good issue. I don't really like Kid Britain, so it wasn't a great issue for me. Avenging Spider-Man, issue 17.
Ooh, does that mean the,
Superior Spider-Man is over?
Yeah. No.
This is a separate book. Avenging Spider-Man is Spider-Man basically crossing over with Avengers type of characters or other superheroes and things like that.
Is that any good?
Well, hang on. Let me tell about it. I'll tell if it's any good each time we finish off a book. Avenging Spider-Man issue 17. Again, this is the Doc Octorman, I guess we'll call him. Doc Octorman. Because it's like Doc Ock and Spider-Man's body. I crossed over the two names.
Oh,
Doc Octorman.
So
it is Doc Ock Spidey. So in this issue, the FF, the new FF, they call on Spider-Man for help, and he thinks, oh, well, I'm going to lead you guys off to do something. But instead, they just need him to babysit all the Future Foundation kids there. And so he's doing that, but at the same time, he's got a sort of an ulterior motive in being in the Baxter Building. And then this whole like time force comes back, that there's been the kind of a violation in the time stream happening right then, and so Death's Head shows up, and
do you mean Thanos is? No,
Death's Head. It's a different character. So he shows up, and Spider-Man's kind of having to fight with these kids, and kind of feels like he has to defend the kids. They resolve that. I'm not gonna say how it's resolved. And at the end, there's sort of a teaser as to what he was doing. Stop doing your feet, bud. There's a teaser at the end as to what he was trying to get out of the Baxter Building. I gotta say, as much as I haven't really enjoyed the Doc Ock Spider-Man, this has probably been my favorite read so far of the Doc Ock Spider-Man.
What about the Daredevil?
That was pretty good. I did like that, but I really enjoyed this. I thought this was one of the best handled issues of a Doc Ock Spider-Man. Still not a fan of that, but it was probably the best handled issue of the bunch. Great art by Medina. Christopher Yost did the writing, I think. I think Medina's doing the art, I'm assuming. I don't know. But it had really nice art, and Christopher Yost, who handles a lot of those animated things like Avengers vs. Mightiest Heroes and some of the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, he's the one that wrote this book. So that may be why I enjoyed it so much. And the thing at the end that happens, what he was there for, was quite a surprise, and I'm wondering where that's going to go. If that's going to be something they handle in Avenging Spider-Man, or something they handle in Superior Spider-Man.
Will
Who
you
knows?
tell me after the video?
I will, just remind me. This book actually came out on February 20th, Daredevil issue 23, but we got it a week late at my shop, so we're putting that on this week's releases. I picked up the last issue of Daredevil that had the Superior Spider-Man crossover, and I really enjoyed it. Remember how I thought that was a really fun read?
I just mentioned that. So.
Yeah, and you were asking me if I was going to keep buying it. Well, I did pick up the next one, because there's a whole teaser as to what's happening with his friend Foggy. They think he might have cancer. They talked about that in the last issue. I'm not spoiling anything for this issue by saying that. But this issue just has him and Foggy. Foggy just wants to have a night of just like being carefree while he's waiting for his test results. So Daredevil's taking Foggy around the city, like swinging around the rooftops and things like that. There's this group that's trying to make these almost copy Daredevil, where they're taking the scenario that Daredevil got his powers and applying it to other people and making these like pseudo Daredevils. And so they send them out, and he's got to like capture them. And he's wondering who's all behind all this whole thing. And at the end, we get Foggy in the hospital room, or Foggy at the doctor's office, and we find out what happens with the test results. And I won't say what happens with the test results. This book was great. I really enjoyed it. I love the art by Samney. I'm going to keep buying this book.
Is it kid appropriate?
I think the last two have been, yeah. Okay. I think you could probably check it out. It's a very fun book. This one is not kid appropriate. Deadpool Illustrated, issue 2. This is seeing Deadpool after the spinning out of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. He's now going through classic literature to kind of chop through all them to get to this creator people, and kind of find out where he's, destroy the creator or whatever. Oh, there's a bunch. He was in Dracula in this one. He was in Little Women in this one. He was in Tom Sawyer in a little bit, obviously from the cover in this one for a little bit. Yeah, that's my dad's name. And then at the same time, as he's going through all these things, yes, it's still there, but the camera, it'll mess up the focus if we move around a lot. So he's going through all these books, and at the end of the last issue, we found out Sherlock Holmes was getting something from that villain team that had sent him there that didn't really want to help, but they're afraid of Deadpool. Right. So we touch ground with Sherlock again. I don't like the writing on this as much as the regular Deadpool book, but the covers are great. And it is kind of fun seeing him go through all those different storylines.
Which one's that?
That's Tom Sawyer. It might be Huck Finn. I don't know.
It's Tom Sawyer's.
Yeah, but it might be Huck Finn still. They're in the book together. FF issue 4. The Matt Fraction, Mike Allred book, which tells the story of the replacement team while the Fantastic Four is out in space. This issue really didn't have a whole lot to it. Other than, in the last issue we found out that Johnny from the future is there, and he's come up with this plan where they're going to take out Dr. Doom, because his future has been tainted by a Dr. Doom, a nihilist type thing. You all right there?
My head's kind of hurting.
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
You think you can continue?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, in this issue, we start off with the old Johnny storyline, but then the rest of the issue is basically just a She-Hulk Wyatt Wingfoot date that the Moloids are trying to ruin. Which was kind of okay. Wait, it was all right. And I know this is a quirky book. And what's that?
She-Hulk and who?
Wyatt Wingfoot. You don't know who he is. Okay. It's basically them having a date the whole time, and the Moloids trying to ruin it because they love She-Hulk. And they enlist Bentley's help, who's like the little supervillain type kid. So they're trying to get him to help ruin it, and he feels bad, about helping how things don't work out so well if I'm trying to ruin the date, and I'm not going to ruin the whole issue. At the end, we find out something about one character that I kind of came out of left field for me, and I don't want to ruin the ending. It's a very quirky book, like I just said. If you're looking for regular superhero stuff, this isn't the book for you.
Didn't you say that the Moloids were funny?
Oh, they're very funny. They're very funny in this one, too. I enjoy the book. It's just if you're looking for a superhero book, this one doesn't have a lot of superhero-y type stuff going on.
Right.
But it is. I love the all-red art, and it is a fun read. Guardians of the Galaxy .1. Now, this storyline, originally by Brian Michael Bendis, was just going to be a quick one-shot in Marvel Now .1. But instead it's been expanded to an entire issue that's going to lead into the new Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1.
Right.
And basically the whole storyline is Star-Lord's origin. Like where he came from, where his father came from, Peter Quill's young wife. Incredibly well written. I loved the art by Steve McNiven. I thought it was fantastic. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. And at the end we get a kind of a teaser for Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1, which I'll definitely be picking up. Really thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's a contender for my pick of the week.
Isn't Iron Man going to be a member of?
Iron Man is going to be a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Gambit issue 9. Now that Gambit's whole storyline with Sitch, I think it was, is kind of over with. He's touching again. They're touching back to the girl that got him involved in that in the first place. I think her name was Joelle, if I remember right. And he thinks she's in trouble, and he's going to try and help her. So he goes to this club of kind of supervillainy type characters that are there to try and kind of help her, but things kind of backfire as they do with a lot with Gambit. My favorite thing about this book is Gambit's return to his original costume, which I love that Gambit original costume.
You mean when I was on
the Marvel Select figure, and then the cartoon, yeah. Him back in that outfit, and I hope it sticks. They kind of make fun of it and say, it's very 90s in this book, but I love that he's back in that costume. We get a little more backstory on Joelle as to why she's doing these things in this issue. This has probably been my favorite issue of the series, I think.
It has?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I love Gambit back in that costume. Hawkeye issue 8 by Matt Fraction with art by Aja. I don't know how to say that person's name. This one touches back with this girl that Hawkeye met earlier on in the series where he got his car from her, and she's kind of in trouble a lot. Well, she's in trouble again, and she comes to Hawkeye for help because she has to get this safe out of this place. And she needs Hawkeye's help to kind of break in and kind of muscle things up and get the stuff out. So Hawkeye, of course, agrees, because he always agrees with girls. And there's kind of a cool interaction scene between Hawkeye's other girl loves, Black Widow and Spider-Woman. And there's these great panels that are inserted throughout, like these one-page panels. They're like homages to kind of old, like teen comic book, like romance type things and stuff like that. Those were really cool as they were interspersed throughout the story. This hasn't been my favorite issue of Hawkeye, but it was still a good continuation of the series. Yeah, I wouldn't consider this a bad issue by any means. But when this whole series is so good so far, this one was just kind of like, okay, it was good, but doesn't hold up to the other ones maybe.
Right. Who is that?
That's the girl.
What is it?
Masks issue 4.
Mask? Like...
That Shadow
Oh.
book with the other heroes like Spider and stuff like that.
About the Secret Raiders.
No.
Fighting crime over time.
Yeah. I don't like this book at all. This has been my most disappointing book, I think, of all time. That's exaggerating. But Masks, I thought was going to be a great series with Shadow crossing over with the Green Hornet and, the Spider and all these different cool things. And it's just kind of gone nowhere. It's really bad.
Wasn't Judge Dredd?
I have to open this up. No, Judge Dredd is not in this book. It's all the old kind of pulp heroes. This book, you could totally skip, and I think you'd be fine in this storyline. The panels are so big. Let me get to a page just to give an example. That's how big the panels are. There is, amongst 2 pages, 3 word balloons, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 words in 2 pages. And that's not the only 2-page spread like that. There's a couple where that's not much for a 2-page spread. It's just, there's just not much to it. I read this book in literally 2 minutes.
What?
2 minutes it took me reading this book. No, I couldn't believe it. Like, I looked at the clock when I started reading, and I looked at it again, and it was literally 2 minutes later.
Wow.
It was so little to the story. The panels were so exaggerated, and it was so deconstructed. It's like, oh, we're going to have a little fight. Oh, we're going to cut to this other guy that's having a little fight. Oh, they're having a little fight. We get one little plot piece, and it doesn't really tell anything as to who, like, the villain is that's controlling the, I don't even know what they're called. The Justice people, I don't even know what they're called anymore. I have to know. Let me see what they're called here. Justice Party. Terrible. And the dialogue's horrible. The art's not that great. I mean, the Alex Ross cover is fantastic. I am so done with this book. I want it to be over with, but I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to finish it off. Do not buy this book. It's not good. It's just not good.
It's because you like Mask, isn't it?
I like Shadow.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Shadow. Yeah. Punisher Warzone, issue 5. This finishes off the Punisher storyline where the Avengers are going to capture him.
Are you happy?
I'm glad it's done, and I'm going to finally spoil what happened in the last issue. Punisher somehow managed to get the drop on Tony Stark and steal one of his armors and fly it around.
That's pretty lame.
It's ridiculous. There's no way Punisher could take one of Iron Man's armors and fly it. First of all, there's no way he could even get an Iron Man armor from Tony Stark. Punisher's cool, but come on. Tony Stark would have so many redundancies inside that armor that there's no way, even if he got the drop on Tony, that he could get that thing to fly, power it, and get it out of there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe because even Tony, when he first had the suit, had trouble controlling
ridiculous.
it. It'll take a while to control it.
He does say in the book, like, I can barely make this thing fly. He wouldn't be able to make that thing do anything. There'd be no way it would even recognize him and work for him. It would just go, wait a second, you're not Tony Stark or anybody else that's authorized. That's not part of the comics. That's more part of the movies.
Jarvis wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't Tony.
So after that happened, in this issue, they're tracking him down, and they've got a beat on him, and he's kind of having his last stand against them. And again, Tony Stark's basically an idiot. This book should have just been called Tony Stark the Moron, is what this writer wants us to believe, that Tony Stark is just a complete fool.
What did Tony Stark do?
He goes in this place and almost gets blown up. The Punisher rigged, and he's like, oh, well, he got me that time. It was just so bad. I was with this book until the last issue. This one really just kind of falls things apart with Tony Stark. I really don't like the way Rucka thinks that Tony Stark is basically an idiot, seems like.
Tony Stark is a genius.
Yeah. So, anyway, the gist of the story is that the Avengers do catch up to him, and we see how it plays out, them capturing him, and what happens from there. Kind of glad the series is over after the last 2. I liked the first 3, didn't like the last 2. I don't think it's even worth grabbing the trade, to be honest, after the last 2. Yeah, it's just a miniseries. Maybe flip through it and see if you like the art. But if you're a big Avengers fan, you might not like that one. If you like the Punisher and you hate the Avengers, you'll probably like that book. Rocketeer, Hollywood Horror, Issue 1. I love the Rocketeer. I've got all the Rocketeer books. This one's by Roger Langridge or with art by J-Bone. The J-Bone art really reminds me of kind of a Darwin Cook / Bruce Timm type vibe to it. So if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like this book's art. The Rocketeer and Betty have a kind of a date thing, and one of Betty's friends, who's like a I don't know what to call her, like a little mystery-loving girl. She's going after this to find out what happened to this, I guess, writer guy and his disappearance, and how it relates to this guy who like is having these shows about prophesizing and how let his mental abilities help you or something. The art was really the selling point. It's just the first issue, so it's kind of introducing all the characters. I'm going to stick with it, though, because I love the Rocketeer.
Okay.
Whew. I'm running out of breath. That's a lot of books. We still got another 6 books to go. What's your book? Blaze didn't have any actual books that he read this week. He has a magazine that we're going to check out at the end that he picked up. It's upside down. Or was it upside down? No, Spider-Man was upside down. But in case you're wondering why he's not chiming in on his thoughts, he didn't read any of these books this week. There's no books that he collects this week. Thunderbolts issue 5. Talk about a roller coaster book. Great issue, issue. Good issue, issue. This one's an issue. It just kind of picks off where, don't do that too much, remember? The camera focus. Oh, yeah. Thunderbolt Ross has kind of taken the leader out of the equation and kind of rescued him out of this thing, and Punisher and Elektra kind of have their stand against these guerrilla warfare guys.
Punisher and Elektra like each other, don't they?
They end up in this issue kind of seeming like they like each other, and which kind of, I guess Deadpool likes her.
The cover of the
next issue, yeah, they're kissing. Deadpool kind of likes her too, and they play on that in this issue. Mm-hmm. Deadpool has this long speech with these people about how he's got this thing, and Venom takes out some other guys. I'm really kind of ready for this storyline to be over.
I thought you liked it.
I like the book, and I like the characters. Right, I just want this storyline over with. Because they've spent 5 issues, and I kind of feel like it's gone nowhere. I don't know. The art's great. Steve Dillon art's great. But this one was definitely on the downturn for this series so far. And I was talking to a guy at the comic shop, and he felt the exact same way. That it was very much a ups and downs kind of book. It's a good issue. It's a bad issue. Good issue, though. Uncanny Avengers number 4. We're finishing off the Red Skull stealing the Charles Xavier's brain and using it as a weapon. He's got control of Thor after the last issue, and they're basically the Uncanny Avengers team is having to go up against Thor and try and take out Red Skull with the power of Charles Xavier. Rogue is there, and Havoc, and Captain America. I loved this book. I thought there was some great art by John Cassaday. There's one panel in particular that's an homage to an old comic cover. Awesome. I'll have to show you later. Really, really solid book, and it finishes off that storyline for the most part. You still got some dangling plot lines going on, but we see the team kind of at the end of this giant fight, and how the kind of world's reacting, or at least that city's reacting to what they've done under Red Skull's control. If you think the book's over, keep turning a couple pages, because there is a little prologue where it's like 3 months later, and it reintroduces another major villain from the Marvel Universe, possibly. I don't want to tell, it's a spoiler. Good book. I really enjoyed it. As long as I can stay on schedule, that'll be one of my favorites.
Who is the Uncanny Avengers? Are they the original team?
No, that's the team that Captain America made, remember? Where now that there's so many more mutants, they don't feel like they've done enough for mutants. It's got mutants on the team with Havoc in the lead. Uncanny XForce number 2. This is Psylocke's team, and they're going after Spiral, and she's protecting some mutant girl. And they're tracking her down, and basically the whole book is them going after her. Storm and Psylocke and Puck going after her. We get the reintroduction of Bishop to the regular continuity after being in the timeline, and he's a bad dude now, it seems like. Right. Kitty's trying to go in the laundry room. Mm-hmm. It was good. It was okay. I mean, the Ron Garney art I loved. I thought the art was great. I just don't know if I like that many of these characters. I don't know really much anything about Phantom X. I like Puck a lot, so the book is fun for me in that regard. And I do love Bishop. So Bishop coming back was really cool for me. So that was cool. Oh, I'm going to throw it all around. Major selling point was the art, though. Uncanny XMen issue 2 by Brian Michael Bendis and Chris Bachalo on the art. I know, 3 Uncanny books. Uncanny Avengers, Uncanny XForce, Uncanny XMen.
What's the next? Uncanny Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't know. They'll throw Uncanny in front of everything, it seems like. This one was disappointing.
It was.
I've been talking about how I like how I really didn't like Brian Michael Bendis in the past, because his writing was really wordy and felt kind of deconstructed. There'd be an entire issue of people just talking in a bar or something like that, or, and saying things that were really like, man, would anybody really talk like that in this kind of situation? This book felt like a return to that writing. After kind of enjoying his writing on a lot of these books, like especially All New X-Men, right, and the last issue of Uncanny X-Men, This one's a return to the deconstructed, wordy talk storyline. It's basically just Cyclops and White Queen and his team talking to their new mutant recruits about being mutants and things like that. There's a ton of dialogue where you're going, man, does anybody talk like that? I don't think so. That's basically the whole issue. It's just them doing a lot of talking.
Wait, you said Cyclops and White Queen, right?
Yeah, they're on a team.
Are you is this kind of like a book that's the people that were the
Phoenix 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically. XMen Legacy issue 6. What's that?
So Namor's in it?
Namor's not in it, no. XMen Legacy issue 6. This is Legion, where he's now at the mansion, or where he's now going after who we find out was Blindfold's brother, that's now controlling one of those twin kids that he's rescued. And he knows that that guy's going to basically try and kill the Blindfold mutant girl that he's kind of got a thing for, it seems like. So he's tapping into all his powers, and he's heading there to confront this kid while he's keeping the X-Men busy from the last issue. This issue wraps it all up. We get a couple of nice spots where we see that there's a dark kind of personality inside Legion's mind, and it has search control at one point, and it's obviously not a cool dude. It's like a villainous character, it seems like. So that could play out pretty good in later issues. Everything gets kind of sewn up at the end, and then now we're going to take it to the next step, I guess, of the storyline of what Legion's basically going to do in the Marvel Universe with all this power, and if he's going to continue Charles Xavier's legacy, what's going to happen. I'm very interested to see what happens in the next issue. Again, this is kind of one of my sleeper hits of Marvel now. I really enjoy this book every month. I like the storyline, I like the character, and I like the two different kind of environments where it's inside his head and in the real world.
Right.
Last of the bunch, or last of my bunch at least, Young Avengers issue 2. In the last issue, Wiccan has brought back Hulkling's parents, or his mom, from another dimension, from the dead. Turns out it's not his mom, and it's some kind of weird dimensional creature. Kid Loki saves them, basically. The Avengers are in this issue, and they kind of are tricked by it too, which I thought was kind of weird. Scarlet Witch even gets tricked by it. I don't really dig that much.
No clue.
I did like Kid Loki. Well, it's kind of tough to explain. Okay. I did like Kid Loki and the whole scene where he saves him and stuff. Thought that was okay. No, Kid Loki seems like he might be okay. He goes back and forth. Who knows what's going on with Kid Loki? He's easily the most compelling character of this book.
It's one we know, really.
Really, yeah. Again, I wish it doesn't seem like it's really geared towards kids as much. And I wish a Young Avengers book, maybe it's just me, was geared more towards kids. Maybe they could call this Teen Avengers. Or Avengers 90210. Maybe they could call it that.
What?
You don't understand. It's okay. It's an okay book.
Alright,
so that's all my books. Yeah, it's Kid Loki. Let's see your book.
It's going to take a while to explain this.
Well, you don't have to go fully detailed. Just kind of tell them what this is about. Marvel Superheroes issue 7. Marvel Superheroes Magazine issue 7. I can hold it for you if you want.
There's a comic inside of it. I didn't read it. I don't know why.
Didn't read the comic yet?
Yeah, not yet. But I saw a picture, and somehow Spider-Man is worthy of Thor's hammer.
Oh, that's weird.
Towards the end.
Okay, well, you got to read that and tell me how that happened. Okay. The book is... Well, you should explain to them what's going on with the book. There's, like this kind of stuff. What's going on with this?
Well, there's main characters in the book, and a lot of stuff is going on. And some of the main characters in the book, they show a picture of them, they give their bio.
Oh, it's like and you can cut it out.
Mm-hmm. But then at the bottom they show like this kind of bar graph.
Oh, that's cool, like a power level type thing?
She has a 7 in intelligence,
Oh, you don't have to tell them all those. Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay, so then let's see what else is in this book.
There is a quiz in every book.
A quiz in every book? That's cool.
You cut out the cards, it's flashcards.
Yeah. We got this 2-page spread. That's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. It's all about Doctor Strange.
There's a tear out poster in every one of them.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't really checked these out that much, but I can try and get you guys every issue if I can.
You got a Keaton one that I don't have. It's the Hulk one.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You had a bunch of other books that week. Here for your hands there.
Okay. They have these little fold things where you fold them in and they become like
the little boxy characters and stuff. I don't want to show them every single page, but that's the poster you're talking about.
No, that's not.
Oh, that's another side of it. Oh, okay. There's a Thor and the Warriors 3 poster. That's pretty cool. And then there's stories, there's comics, activities. Yeah, I see the Thor scene you're talking about. That's pretty cool. So you like these books?
I love them.
You love these. Okay, so you would say that kids of your age range, and the 10-year-old, Keaton likes them too. But he hasn't fully reading yet.
I just got into it today because I was behind an issue.
That's right. We missed issue 6. So we snagged it.
This wasn't my favorite issue. The Iron Man one was.
Oh yeah.
Issue 5, I think. Yeah, issue 5.
Issue 5. Iron Man was your favorite issue.
Yes.
But you still enjoy this every month.
Yes, I like.
I think it's a good, fun read. And it's a pretty good value too. $5. I mean, you get some stories to read and a lot of activities and things like that. I really enjoyed these kind of magazines as a kid too. I used to get like Ninja Turtle ones and things like that that were a lot like these. So that's cool. I'm glad you liked it.
What was that thing Mike was talking about on Action Features, like Superhero?
Oh, Hero Illustrated?
Yeah.
There was a magazine they used to publish called Hero Illustrated. It would just be about comic storylines and upcoming toys and things like that. It was cool. It wasn't like that, but it was cool. So I guess that's it, man. I am beat. That was a long list of comics.
Well, you have to do toy stuff, don't
Still gotta do some toy reviews. We'll do Ram Man and probably the Diamond Select Hulks, and that'll be it. So we're gonna sign off, and we'll see you guys next time.